Hey, welcome back to Limitless TV and our series on 7 spiritual practices. This episode is on community. Okay, so today we're talking about community. A word you'll often hear used when talking about Christian community is the word church, and that can have all sorts of connotations for people. It might make you think about different denominations, you might think about your own experiences of church, or you might think about the church building. I was speaking to one of my friends recently about this, and he was telling me that he actually hates the fact that people refer to the church building as the church. And the more I think about it, the more I agree with him. Because when you read the Bible, the definition of a church is not a place and it's not a building. The word used in the New Testament is ecclesia, and the definition of that literally is congregation or assembly. So it's a gathering of believers. Therefore, I would say that the church is not a place or a building, but it is you, it is me, it is followers of Jesus when we come together. So when you are out with your friends, you are being the church. When you are helping at a kids club, you are being the church. When you are kind to a stranger, you are being the church. So if the church is Jesus' followers, surely we should ask Jesus what he wants his church to be like. So I'm just going to read 2 passages to you, both from the book of John. The first is John 13, verses 34 to 35. It says this: "A new command I give you, that you love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my followers, if you love one another." 3 times he says, love one another there. Can he make it any more clear about what he wants us to do as his followers? The next passage is a prayer later on in John chapter 17, verses 20 to 21. Jesus is praying for his disciples, and if you listen, he's praying also for you and for me. "My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me." After reading these passages, I can only come to the conclusion that God, Jesus, wants us to meet together. How can we love one another if we avoid people? How can we be one with people if we are separate? We can't. God wants us to love each other and to be united. To do those things, I really believe we need to meet together as followers. And I don't think we get to choose who we love and who we don't love. I don't think we get to choose who we are united with and who we're divided with. God doesn't leave that option open to us. God wants us to love every other follower. God wants us to be united with every other follower, regardless of denomination. I really believe that. And to me, that is the beauty that we find in what I would call the local church. Christians meeting together locally in local church buildings. Because we have young meeting with old. We have annoying people meeting with kind people. I fall under both of those categories. We have people from different backgrounds, people from different races, all coming together in something that is messy but beautiful at the same time. There's also a benefit to us, I believe, when we meet with other believers. One of my favourite verses is in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, and it says this: "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." And we have this image of 2 iron blades coming together, and as there's friction between them, one of them is becoming sharper, the other is becoming sharper, both of them becoming more effective tools. When I was 13, I went to a Christian camp, and I remember one day being in the tuck shop with one of my friends. There were a couple of boys in front of us. They were talking about how they didn't like swearing, so I thought, I'm going to join this conversation. So I chime in, I go, "Yeah, I hate swearing too," except I threw in a swear word to the sentence as a joke. And quite rightly, this guy in front of me, he challenged me on it because it didn't honour God. A year later, me and this guy were best friends and were for many years. And that is just one example of a time when he challenged me, when we spoke about God, when we encouraged one another to be true followers of Jesus. That man, as he is now, had a real impact on my life. And we spent hours and hours together. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. We often perceive peer pressure as something negative, but I believe that when we spend time with people who are good influences on us, peer pressure is a good thing. I like to think of church as being a bit like a hospital where we are all patients, but we're also all staff. Because we all need treatment, but we also all have a responsibility to come alongside, to encourage, to love, support and treat our fellow believers. I just want to finish by reading Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25. It says this, "And let us not neglect meeting together as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now as the day of his return is drawing near." So I just want to finish by setting you guys a challenge to do exactly what that verse says, to encourage somebody. So I want you to think about someone who has blessed you, who's encouraged you, someone who's taught you well, maybe somebody who's been kind to you, who is another believer. And I want you to get in touch with them, maybe give them a call if you're brave enough. If not, just send them a text message, tell them what you appreciate about what they have done for you. I know that will encourage them.